Good evening, my dear viewers. Welcome to another Alliteration gaming video. My name's Levi, and I am a minimalist. And I moved into a van, and I'm now a full-blown vagabond. Basically, I went off the rails in my 20s. I've thought a really long time about how I was gonna start this video, and I really never settled upon any intro that I liked, so I just wheeled them all through. Now, why did I do this? I've always been a minimalist. When I moved out of my home state of Louisiana in about 2020, I sold nearly everything I had. I owned a house full of things. I sold nearly everything I had, all the furniture, most of my personal things, enough to the point where I could pack it all up and move in basically just my Volkswagen Beetle Bug. And then I got to Texas, and I've pretty much been bouncing around ever since, never really figuring out what place I wanted to stay, where I wanted to settle. If anything, the only thing I really did figure out was that I didn't really want to settle down somewhere. So I had this growing fondness for living a really minimalistic, material light and simple lifestyle. And then I just had this growing realization that I didn't really want to permanently settle down anywhere. So van life is something that slowly became this growing, crazy midlife crisis thought in the back of my head. And you know, there's kind of like two really big things that you need to understand, know, or have figured out before you embark on van life. The first one is a remote job. You can have an in-person job, but then you're still staying in one place. If you don't have something remote, it really limits your ability to travel. And I think it's just such a waste to embark on a fully mobile lifestyle like this and not just, you know, travel around nonstop. And then I think the other thing you need to have figured out is if you actually like it at all. You know, it's a really big journey to embark upon, and you need to make sure that it's actually something that you're gonna like, especially if you're, you know, thinking about doing it long term. And these were just simply two hurdles that I hadn't quite figured out when I started thinking about this, you know, a couple of years ago. But if you fast forward just a little bit to about a year ago, I did get a remote job. I landed a remote job with the trading card game company of my dreams. So at that point, the main other thing to think about was, Levi, do you like living in a van or not? And so long story short, I ended up embarking upon a work trip for my new job that actually involved me spending 2 weeks traveling around Texas and living in a rental van, a fancy converted van, much fancier than this. And those 2 weeks, I don't really know how to describe it, but those 2 weeks felt like a dream. They felt like a dream that I just simply did not want to wake up from. From the very first day all the way to the very last, the magic, simplicity, and just humility of living out of the van, I don't know, feeling very grounded, those feelings never left me all the way until the very end. And so after that trip concluded, I was pretty sure this is what I wanted to do. And so I started seriously looking. I stumbled upon this beautiful converted 2014 ProMaster 1500 that was almost completely converted the way I wanted in the middle of nowhere, Driggs, Idaho. And so I contacted the seller, we got to know each other, they arranged an inspection with a mechanic there, everything looked checked out, and so I flew to the middle of nowhere and bought this van on October 7th, 2024. I spent about 5 or so days driving it back, packed up all my stuff, and I've been living in it 24/7 ever since. All the while doing tons and tons of work on the interior. And it's both been an absolute blast and also one of the hardest months of my life. And so that's how I embarked on this very grand new chapter of life. It's been an absolute blast, and now that the van is kind of really done, I wanted to make a video talking about this journey and how unbelievably excited I am to be living in my little dream home on wheels.
my woman, from the minute I laid my eyes on you. You're the woman till the last day of my whole life. Come on, girl, you're my woman, from the day I laid my eyes on you. You're the woman till the very last day of my life.
I think my stomach and I both agree. First meal in the van is a massive, massive success. Now, we're actually ready to start this video. Although I'm probably gonna need to clean up a little bit before I can give a proper tour. The owners who had built this van out before built it to be much more of like a weekend warrior, so there really wasn't a lot of stuff set up when it comes to like actually living in the van full time, aside from just like, you know, missing things like the appliances. Those were really the biggest things that I put in. Past that, you know, there just weren't little things, you know, a paper towel roll holder here, a little cup for your toothbrush here, just tons and tons of little stuff like that. And so the second I got back home with him, I knew that I had to set out to work in order to slowly but surely make this thing my little palace on wheels. So to start with an actual full tour, this is obviously our giant opening door here, and then this inside here is where all of the magic has really happened. So we've got some pretty big upgrades here. When I first got this van, there was no fridge situation because there wasn't really an electrical situation. So there was, but we'll get more into that when we get in the back and actually look at the new electrical situation here. But for appliance-wise, I basically went full EcoFlow because I really love their app. They have a really nice app that can basically monitor all your appliances. You can operate them from it, and it's super duper sick. And so it's very cool just kind of having like my whole home's ecosystem just kind of on my phone. It's super duper handy. This fridge is pretty awesome. It's pretty big, and I keep it pretty stocked up. My diet is mostly breakfast sandwiches and salads. That's breakfast and lunch almost every day for me, so I got all the stuff to make those. And then I'm a massive iced coffee fanatic, so I of course have all my different milks, creamers, cold brew concentrates and stuff like that, and I'll usually keep like a single bottle of water in there just to stay cold. And then one of the coolest parts about this fridge is it does have an ice maker. As you can see, basically you fill this thing with water and then it just freezes these pipes or these little like pieces here, and then ice forms around them. It's super duper gangster and is obviously a very integral piece of making iced coffee. And then to kind of then go up here a little bit, one of the first things that I had to put in was this curtain rod. It's really just like command stripped and hooked up to the ceiling here. It's like I said, I'm not the handiest man around. Some nice complete privacy in the back of the van here. Speaking of this curtain area, the van came with these awesome seat covers that have just tons of storage. However, once I put a curtain up, I couldn't access them anymore because obviously they would cover the seats. So I had to cut some holes so that I could loop those covers through and then still have access to all my storage. This one's pretty simple. I usually just kind of hang like my little purse here, got my hairbrush. I kind of keep my keys right here. This one's not too crazy. We have a bottle for emergencies and emergencies only. The other seat back here though is really like the actual workhorse. So this thing is a ton of it. It's hard to see here, but this is my laundry bag, and it just sits all the way down there, and I can just toss my dirty clothes in there. It's super duper great. And this is my gym bag here, because you know we don't have any kind of shower built into the van, so my showers are all just at like Planet Fitnesses and stuff like that. But this bag's awesome, and it's just got a couple of like microfiber towels in there that quick dry. They're really nice. They're the only towels I have. And then in here I just have little like travel size pouches that's like soap, shampoo, conditioner. And then I've also got inside this little bag here are some Crocs that I can wear in the shower at the gym because, oh my goodness, do not go into gym showers with your bare feet. You're gonna get some nasty athlete's foot. And then I've got this little trash can up here also hanging off the back. Next up, let's check out the kitchen. And honestly, the kitchen is, I think, the most impressive part about this van. I cook a ton, so having a nice kitchen was really important to me. And I mean, we've got this nice big countertop. This is not a small countertop by any means. I've got all my devices charging up here. We've got some outlets that wire to the back. There's a picture of me as a younger man. Then the sink here, this is just an electric water pump. It's super duper simple, and it literally just charges off the back of this micro USB port here. Then I've got a little like Febreze Airwick type of freshener guy here. It's literally just command stripped to the walls by two Velcro ones, so it's super easy to take off and change it. The sink is honestly a pretty nice size. My biggest pan can fit completely flat in here, which is really nice. This is the dimmer switch for the lights, so as I spin this, the lights are gonna dim and then turn on and turn off. It's super handy. I put this paper towel roll holder up here, and these cabinets up here are pretty gangster, to be honest. This is kind of where I keep all of like my, you know, medicine, vitamins, deodorant, Band-Aids, just kind of like, you know, your bathroom cabinet, so to speak. And then these are just all my dishes up here. It's pretty simple. I basically just have 2 little bowls and 2 big bowls, a measuring cup, a little distiller here for iced coffee. And then down here, we've got 3 big drawers and then this cabinet, which is not much of a storage space because it's got my water tanks in there. They're both 6 gallons, fresh water on the right, drains into the gray water on the left. When the right is empty, that means the left is full and it's time to change them out. And then I just keep like, you know, extra paper towels and all my cleaning products down here. And then these drawers are awesome. And these are all just these guys are all just on magnets. And then, you know, I just have a lot of, you know, black and red utensils, got my things that I use the most. This thing is really cool. All of the, you're gonna see when I go into the next drawer that all of the pots and pans that I have, they have no handles. And so they're specifically designed like that so that they can be stored much easier. And then instead, you just have this tool that basically becomes a take-off handle for all of them. And so it just makes storing my dishes a lot easier. I've just got a couple pots and pans in here. I've got my strainer down there. And then this is just my stovetop, my little plug-in burner guy. It's an induction, which I know uses like a lot more power, but I have a pretty Mac Daddy battery station, and I like having this because it heats up super duper fast, and you can actually completely change the wattage, basically all the way from 100 to 1800 wattage. And then this last one down here, it's just all my dry food. Now, if you come over to the bed area, this is actually where I did some of the most work, simply because when I first got the van, it actually had, I think, a queen size mattress that went all the way to the back, basically right up against the doors in the back. But I have this really nice purple twin size mattress that I'm super attached to, and it's really enough space for me. I'm only like 5'3", which also means that I can stand up like exactly completely straight in the van, aside from my hair. But yeah, so I was pretty attached to the mattress that I had before. I really like this mattress, big purple stand here. It was just a little too long. So I took the queen size mattress that was in here, I took it out, and then I took this one and I had to cut about like 7 or 8 inches off of the end so that I could fit it in here. So that was kind of the biggest like inside operation that I really did, was just cutting this mattress to fit, which then left me with a bunch of space back here for me to put all these little storage cubes and fit not only all of my clothes, some grocery bags here, my son, and then an air conditioning unit. And we'll get more into this guy once we get into the back. Then I also hung these nets up to contain the rest of my stuffed animals, and then they're kind of hidden behind the pillows here. But this net just has like my button-ups, my headbands, you know, a hoodie, you know, kind of the more clothes that I don't go into like every day. You know, these boxes back here are really all of my normal clothes. And then also coming more back here, I had to hang up these little curtain guys because I also needed some privacy in the back. And these are super simple. I literally just glued these magnet strips on, and so we've just got one on each end up here and then another down here, and you kind of just let them fall and they really just magnet themselves. And I've got one on the side too, that way you can't really see at the angle here. And then to put them up, I literally just I just take it and I just magnet it right up there. Also, we've got some nice Austin Powers level sexy lights here. These were actually in the van already. This was not an addition that I made. Very big fan of these. We've also got a Max Air fan up here. Ignore this foam thing. I originally had that because I was trying to do something else with the tubing on the AC, but it didn't quite work out and it's kind of just still there. But I have this Max Air fan, which actually doesn't work. I think it needs like a voltage regulator or something like that. Anytime that I try to put it above basically the slowest speed, it overloads itself and then shuts off. So this doesn't really work, but honestly, it's not a big deal since I put in that AC, which can be a much better fan on top of being an actual AC as well. Lastly, if we come down to under the bed here, we have these drawers, and oh my goodness, these drawers might be my favorite part about the interior of this van. These drawers are absolutely amazing. They're on these little locks here because they're super big and have a lot of stuff in them, and these drawers are huge. These guys are super duper deep and super duper massive. So this top one here is like my tech drawer, and this little kind of pale rail here, I have all my camera equipment, and in that back area right there is where the tripod goes, except I'm using it right now. This is just a little box of tons of little like command strips and pins and stuff to hang, and then this is just kind of like my little junk drawer here. And then this is something I did really recently, which I super love, is I wired the, see if you can kind of see it, I wired the cord to power the Nintendo Switch dock back here, and then just kind of fit the dock tightly in here between this bin. It all fits completely snug, and now my Switch just kind of charges out of this drawer, and I can also just like open the drawer and easily take it out and play it, which is pretty sweet. And then you have the controller in there as well. So that's the top drawer, and then, you know, I'm a trading card game player, so we have to have a drawer dedicated to just the trading card games, and yeah, this is where all the bulk is. Also, Unicron. Oh, and last but not least, we have this little hanging light guy here, which literally, it just magnets on. I think the folks who built this van, Ricky and Dylan, they just made this, and it's super duper cute. It's really cool to kind of just have like a flashlight always hanging out, always right there. And then obviously you can turn it on while it's up, and it actually in the dark produces a pretty considerable amount of light. Like between this and then the sexy lights back there, the van's pretty much lit up in the nighttime, even without any of the ceiling lights. So this is really awesome. And then it's just got a micro USB that it charges for right down there. And so that pretty much does it for the back living space of the van. So let's pop up front and see what's going on up there. And honestly guys, it's not too terribly much. I kind of just use the front for a lot of storage really. Up here I've got like extra water bottles. On the side here I've got more water as well. We've got some drinky drinks in there. I have the main trash can up here. This is basically for anything, you know, anything like normal size that doesn't fit into the little tiny trash can. I got this little guy here so that I can, you know, eat some chicken nuggets while I drive. It's pretty useful. Then I've got some friends around here. We've got a little Insecticon feller, and then if you come down here, we got my co-pilot, Torterra. And then on the side here, we got Hawks and Sideswipe just kind of hanging out. Just a bunch of friends up here, just a bunch of companions. So the back of the van is pretty intense. Obviously this is where the van's bulk storage is. This is kind of where I keep all of like, you know, my extra stuff. I've got a box back there of Transformers that I don't want to get rid of. I got my suitcase. I got this extra battery guy that EcoFlow just sent me for spending a bunch of money, which is pretty cool. I've got some picture frames and stuff back there. And just kind of like, you know, it's like some card game boxes, storage, memories, things I just don't want to get rid of. This box is just like tech stuff, extra cords, cables, plugs, extension cords. I've got a little battery operated fan, all kinds of nonsense in there. And then this guy here, this is really cool. I did not make this. The van came with this. It's like a little slide out dolly situation made specifically to fit this cooler, which made sense because there was no fridge, right? It was just a weekend warrior, and so a cooler in the back was really good enough for the folks that built it. But now I just kind of keep all of like my coats and jackets and extra blankets and stuff, since, you know, I'm in Texas right now. I don't really, I don't need those super duper often. So it's cool to kind of have this, you know, I think of this as like my extra closet basically. And then you can also see that we've got some more board games and stuff, things that didn't quite fit into the card drawer. Stored in this little door right here, I have a net, and this just attaches to all of those little Velcro pieces up there. On this side, I've just got some little nets set up. This is just where all my actual bottles of like shampoo, conditioner, soap, and stuff like that are. And then, you know, I just bring the little guys, the little travel size ones, into the gym with me when I shower, and then when those run out, I just come back here and fill them up. And then from there, we've got the air conditioner. So this is the EcoFlow Wave 2 with the extra battery add-on. This thing is super duper awesome, and basically what's going on here is I just kind of sit this guy right here. This tube is where the cold air blows out, so I can just kind of extend this all around, and, you know, I can put it on me in the bed, I can put it on, you know, wherever I want really. I usually will just kind of like put the AC on for like 10-20 minutes, stuff it under my blanket with me, and then just kind of create like a little cocoon of cold air. It's pretty epic. And then the hot air exhausts from this end, and it just dispenses the hot air down here, which is not great because it's still like in the van, and eventually it does kind of, you know, heat rises, so it's not the best solution in the world. I think what I might do is maybe cut a hole in like one of these little door panels or something like that, and see if I can make some kind of situation where I can angle this to blow the hot air actually out of the van. And then it is a portable AC, so it does have to drain sometimes if like the humidity builds up water, which is this little gray hose right here. And I literally just have this in like a water bottle that's just like Velcroed to the ground there. It's super duper jank, and I'm probably gonna get like an actual cup holder or something like that that I can attach to the wall to set something like that in. I've got this extra light here for when it's dark because the light doesn't get too crazy back here. This guy's just magnet on. I got this at like freaking Walgreens. And then finally, the biggest, craziest upgrade, the battery station. So this is the EcoFlow Delta Pro 3. It's a 4,000 watt hour battery station, and it's got some crazy daisy stuff going on. So this thing pretty much powers everything in the van. As far as what all these cables are, we have this guy right here, which is what powers the ceiling lights in the van, and then that's just on a converter little Anderson cable on the side there. This extension cord here is what's wired all the way through and through, and then it plugs in back there, and it actually goes through the wheel well area, and it's the cable that powers the fridge, and it's also what the switch back there is plugged into. And then this big chungus cable here is the air conditioner, and then this cable down here is what leads back to the little outlets in the kitchen area back there. And so that's how this thing powers everything. Now, how does this thing get powered? So it's got two ways. So the first way is this big box on the wall. So this is the EcoFlow alternator charger thing. It's basically sort of like an inverter situation that's just plugged directly into the van's battery and then plugs into the battery station. So whenever the van is running, the van's battery, the excess energy from the van's battery is powering this thing. And then the other primary way that the battery gets power is solar panels. So this was probably the biggest operation that I had done on the van after buying it, was there was no solar. The setup that the owners of the van had before was they had all those things like the lights and the outlets wired to the back, and they just had a really small battery station back there. So basically the exact same setup, just significantly lower power. They had like a 720 watt hour battery station in here. This is a 4,000 watt hour one. So basically the same setup, and I really like the setup. I didn't want to do like a full heavy duty crazy battery installation. I just decided it made more sense to buy a bigger station and just do what they were doing, except on a much larger scale, so I could actually power things like this AC for a few hours a day, and then the fridge for, 24 hours. And so I figured I could power a giant battery station between 750 watts of solar up here. These are about 250 a panel. And then between the inverter and the other plug going into the van's battery, driving the van gives me about 900 watts an hour. So assuming like 4 to 5 hours of sunlight a day on top of driving the van for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, we pretty much get a full charge of this going every single day. So it's really, really hard to run out of power, to be honest. And that's pretty much the full tour of this van and all of the details as far as the build is concerned. So what does this mean for, anything really? What does this mean for me? What does this mean for the channel? I guess, to talk about the channel a little bit, obviously, Universe's content doesn't happen anymore now that I'm an employee of the company. Star Wars Unlimited content has been happening quite a bit lately, and I've been doing a lot of commentary and stuff, running some bigger local events here. All of that's been a ton of fun. I don't intend on stopping anytime soon. You've already seen that we're more than capable of making deck profiles in the van, so don't really expect the Star Wars videos to go anywhere. Honestly, don't expect any videos to go anywhere. It's just, it's a lot less of a hustle now and more of like a, when I enjoy something and when I'm having a good time, we'll make a video about it. Living in the van is probably going to present significantly more opportunities for that. So if anything, you might even see content ramping up in some ways. There's no telling where you're going to be seeing Levi from here on out. But yeah, I guess that about wraps up this video. Honestly, this wasn't really like a, oh, I need to make an update. Honestly, there was no serious intention behind the creation of this video aside from just, I have a super cool van that I live in now, and I really want to make a video showing it off. That being said, if you watch this whole video, it is a bit of an update on my life and what I'm doing and what you can expect to see from Levi going forward. So thanks for being a part of my life and for being a part of this really, really cool new journey. It's been equal parts scary and equal parts exciting, and really that's my favorite way to live every day of life. If you're not constantly afraid and if you're not constantly challenged, then you're probably not progressing the state of your being very much. That's gonna be it for this video. Thanks again so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.